Hey there, Patriots. It's Ryan Flugaur with the National Association for Gun Rights. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the United Nations' not-so-secret plan to regulate and effectively destroy the global ammunition market. But first, my gosh, what a week it's been for the Second Amendment. There's way too much happening right now on gun rights, and our staff can barely keep up with it all. So please take a moment and slam the subscribe button so we can do more videos like this and send them to you later this week. And then mosey on over to gunrights.org using the link in the description and pinned comment below so you can sign up for email and text alerts. Why is this so important? Well, before I get into all the UN nonsense, there are at least 5 things happening right now, just this week alone, that you need to be aware of. First, Congress is voting on gun control in the budget, and low-T Republicans led by Kevin McCarthy are trying to give Joe Biden's ATF a pay raise before the September 30th deadline. Second, the ATF comment period on Joe Biden's illegal gun registration executive order is open, basically declaring everybody who sells a gun a dealer in a backdoor attempt to register more gun buyers. 3, California passed a bill calling for a constitutional convention to, get this, abolish the Second Amendment. 4, states like Pennsylvania are holding hearings on red flag gun confiscation laws in Republican-controlled chambers. And 5, our lawsuit against that tyrant in New Mexico is still ongoing. Heck, I even think the CDC is about ready to announce something on gun control. So, guys, we need you in this fight. I know nobody likes it when these phones go off in the middle of a meeting, but let me tell you, if you subscribe and sign up with your email or phone number, then we can get you the info you need to help make a difference. All right, back to the United Nations. Everybody's least favorite bureaucratic nightmare that just won't go away. The United Nations kicked off its 78th annual meeting of the General Assembly earlier this week, and once again, all of our eyes are on what they're planning to do with guns this time around. It's no secret that the UN hates guns. From its very incept, the UN has deliberately omitted the individual right of self-defense from its charter and all of its basic documents governing human rights. Nations like Costa Rica and Argentina bragged about this last month when your National Association for Gun Rights confronted them. If you want to know more about that, we have a couple of videos on it. We'll link in the description below, but we're going to have another video coming out recapping that meeting of the Small Arms Treaty very soon. But the UN Small Arms Treaty, or Arms Trade Treaty as they call it, is not the only thing the UN is doing to target global civilian disarmament. It would take too long for me to recap all of the anti-gun programs of action against small arms that the UN has been cooking up for decades. But right now, everyone's biggest concern is what the UN General Assembly is going to do with ammunition this week. Now, back in June, delegates to the United Nations Open-Ended Working Group on Conventional Ammunition, they call it OEWG, it concluded with a framework to regulate ammunition globally. Like the Small Arms Treaty, this substantially focuses on large caches of ammunition pallets that they're trying to make sure don't get diverted to thugs or warlords or rogue actors in the third world. But this framework that they cranked out in June is supposed to be going before the UN as soon as this week. And as gun owners know full well, any disruption to the global ammunition market could have drastic repercussions for ammunition availability back home. And well, the anti-gun politicians know this too. Ban the ammo, you can ban the guns. That's why the knuckleheads in New York are requiring background checks for ammunition, and that idea is starting to spread like wildfire with the anti-gun states. It's why the Obama administration tried to ban .223 green tip ammo in 2014, which we stopped, and why Biden took a swipe at the Russian ammo imports long before the war in Ukraine even started. In my decade following the United Nations, nothing has concerned me more than the concept of them going after ammunition on a global scale. So this framework that the OWEG put in they just put the final touches on it last June, it's deeply concerning. We're watching it very closely, and if it does get voted on, we're going to let you know right away. Unlike the state legislatures that are usually a little more predictable, it's not easy to predict what the UN's agenda is going to be or when they're actually going to do things. They don't exactly let us in the room. But just so you can see what we're talking about, we're going to post a link to the final report in the description below so you can follow along with what's going on here. We've also got a petition put together below so you can tell your U.S. officials to vote no on any ammunition regulation at the UN General Assembly. Again, we want you involved in this fight, so please sign it. So what exactly is this proposed framework to regulate ammunition? It's basically a list of 15 proposed objectives for regulating ammunition and ammunition stockpiles worldwide. The good news, if you can call it that, is reports from back in June suggest that this 30-page document is not as bad as it could have been. In fact, it sounds like they removed some of the most explicit language talking about the registration of end users of ammunition. But I've been following the UN for over a decade now, and let me tell you, they do want to regulate and register all end users, buyers of ammunition. It's just that the global bureaucrats understand that they need to get the camel's nose under the tent first. And one of the ways they are doing that is to dress it up in politically correct PC language. For example, they're claiming the purpose of this is to fix gaps in through-life ammunition management, which basically means tracking every round of ammunition from the mining of the rare earth elements all the way through the projectile hitting the backstop. Let me quote from their 11th recommendation in this document. It's titled, "Enhance Marking and Tracing of Conventional Ammunition Under National Ownership and Control." Of course, they have to throw the words in there, under national ownership and control. But we know that's really just code for governments regulating the private market because globalists don't believe in freedom. Here's what it does. Quote, "In some cases, new technologies and processes may offer cost-effective solutions for individual marking during and after manufacture. These include inter alia, printing, stamping, laser marking, the application of microtags, or the integration or application of identifying combinations of rare earth elements, i.e. chemical tagging," unquote. So there you have it, straight from their own text. The United Nations wants to microstamp every single round of ammunition so it can be traced. This would drastically raise the cost of production. Like every other gun control, it won't work because you know half the world's rogue regimes will not comply, and the only ones impacted will be law-abiding gun owners like us here in America. Folks, we all remember the empty shelves and outrageous prices during the Obama era and COVID-19 ammo runs. The last thing we want to see happen is anything that could remotely trigger something like that again, which is why we need to make a stink about this now. So please sign the petition in the pinned comment and the description below, instructing the U.S. to vote against this dangerous scheme. And before you all say it in the comments section below, yes, I know the U.S. has veto power in the United Nations Security Council. But this thing could be voted on before the United Nations General Assembly in New York. It's a different body. So it's important that we let our elected officials know that we oppose this now. We also need to let them know that those so-called concessions offered back in June were nothing but lipstick on a pig. Most importantly, we're going to deliver those petitions to the U.S. Senate, too, because whatever happens in the UN General Assembly this week, we must make sure that Congress steps up and refuses to fund any effort to regulate ammunition here in the United States. So with that, please sign your petition now, hit the subscribe button, sign up for those updates at gunrights.org, and let me know what you think of the United Nations framework to regulate ammunition in the comments section below. Thank you and God bless.